Are you scared of spiders?
Nope.
You know they can be deadly, right?
Yep.
Still no fear?
Nope.
Dumbass.
All this and more on Gory Story Time.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Story Time. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And this week we're doing our third in our series of 4 movies that are revolving around phobias.
Yes,
This is the first one that has the word phobia in the title. Arachnophobia, the 1990 classic starring, John Goodman was in it.
John Goodman, Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels. There's a few. There's people you'll recognize that you might not even know their names necessarily, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
there's a lot of, that guy.
Exactly. Here's the basic premise.
Spiders.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you this premise because he's an idiot. A New York City kind of doctor moves to a small rural area with the idea that the person who's the local doctor is about to retire, and he has an extreme spider fear. He's arachnophobic, like beyond belief. He's scared to death.
Yeah, when you look up the movie, when you look up the name of the movie, it just picks probably his face in the dictionary. Yeah, I mixed all of the words up.
Yeah, don't mind him. He's not smart. Anyway, then the guy decides not to retire, and he starts seeing some people anyway, because some people come to him because they don't really trust the old guy. And then they start dying, and it's only the ones right after they've seen him, and it doesn't seem great. And he's like, I'm pretty sure it's a spider. And come to find out, it was spiders. That's not a spoiler. So, yeah, a specific spider came in from the jungles of Central America, probably, I think it was.
It was, South America, something like that.
And made its home in his barn. And it's spreading out and killing folks.
As they do.
That's basically the premise.
Yeah.
Anything else before we show people?
Watch it.
Okay. Yeah, watch it before we spoil stuff. But
because we will.
If you want to know what it looks like, why don't we throw it to a trailer?
The Jennings family has just moved to the small town of Canaima.
Oh, Ross, smell that air. Oh, God.
In search of a simpler life.
Want to blow up a bullfrog? Okay.
It's the perfect place.
Goodbye crime, goodbye grime.
Except for one pesky little problem.
Come with me and look at the web.
The web? I have a
Terrible fear of spiders. Come on, we live in the country now. It's time to work through this irrational, paralyzing terror.
It's not irrational.
Hollywood Pictures and Amblin Entertainment present Jeff Daniels.
Honey, we're in the living room. We need you to kill a spider.
And John Goodman.
Dover McClintock, Infestation Management.
That guy's just a spider.
Would anybody object if I tore this floor out?
I would.
False alarm, then lead on. There's no spider here.
Every so often in a little town somewhere, there is a health scare.
There's a rumor going around that some kind of spider might have killed Sam Metcalf.
Doubtful.
Spiders make convenient culprits.
There's no spider here.
I think one of your Venezuelan spiders hitched a ride here.
There may be some spiders,
around here that are very dangerous.
Dad, chill out.
Just run.
They spread out from a central nest in a web-like pattern and dominate the entire area. When that happens, this town is dead.
Better uncork my private stock.
Rock and roll! Hollywood Pictures and Amblin Entertainment present Arachnophobia. 8 legs, 2 fangs, and an attitude.
Perk up, Lloyd. If we find the spider that did this, you can arrest him.
Arachnophobia, a thrill-omedy.
Indeed, indeed.
All right. Not a bad trailer. Didn't seem to give away too much, but it told enough about what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say before we explain what we're really doing here?
No.
Okay. See, week after week after week, people just assume we review horror movies because we happen to enjoy horror movies.
And you're assuming does?
And whilst we do enjoy horror movies, reviewing them is just an excuse to make piles and piles and piles of, well, they've been paying us in Bitcoin, so it's not really piles as much as it's data.
It's a lot more difficult to swim around in Bitcoin.
But it's a lot of ones and zeros.
It is. My Sims have a hell of a time with it, though.
Anyway. So what we do is we put it out there to big corporations, and they tell us, advertise for us on your little show, and we'll pay you this money. So that's what we're doing.
Because we like that money.
We do enjoy that money. So this week, they backed up a Brinks truck full of digital coins.
Dogecoins?
Sure.
For
us to
Twitter
promote
bucks?
these things. Gory Storytime is brought to you by Charlotte's Dead. Dread, not dead. I read that wrong.
You did.
All right, let me try this again. Haha. Gory Storytime is brought to you by Charlotte's Dread. The horror movie based on children's classic genre is gaining momentum with movies like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and the Grinch-inspired The Mean One, both coming out soon. So GST Films began looking for other kid stories to ruin because with existing parody and public domain laws, we can. Charlotte's Dread tells the story of a livestock pig and his friendship with a barn spider. When the pig is in danger of being slaughtered by the farmer, threatening messages appear in the spider's web in order to persuade the farmer to let him live or suffer the consequences.
And by the Face Your Fears video series. We brought people out to a nice relaxing dude ranch and made them experience their greatest fears for our hidden cameras. Not to get over their fears, just to entertain us. There's nothing that brings more glee than watching people squirm from fear. Snakes, spiders, heights, water, and more. Face Your Fears is available on DVD and Blu-ray. Face your fears through others' terror.
All right.
That reminds me of a show that also exists.
Set that down. It's not a show.
Oh, what is it?
It's a set of DVDs and Blu-rays. Jeez, pay attention to the thing you read.
Video series. That would be a show.
No. He's not smart. I think I've said that before. Today. This episode. Anyway, you want to go first? You want me to?
Sure. The safety of the spiders were paramount throughout the entire production. So for one scene where
McClintock know how to read,
had to spray an arachnid with insecticide, then squash it with his boot, the production went to extreme measures. First, a dummy spider was sprayed. Goodman then donned special boots with a hollowed-out sole for the squash shot so that the spider would just curl up inside and wait for the next take.
The animatronic general spider seen in the film's climax was one of the earliest prop jobs done by Jamie Heineman, star and co-producer of Mythbusters.
Heck yeah. The small spiders used in the film were Avondale spiders, a harmless species from New Zealand that were provided by Landcare Research in Auckland. Despite their fierce appearance, the spider is a docile member of the crab spider family and is, in fact, harmless to humans. They were not allowed back in New Zealand for quarantine reasons. The giant spider used in the film was a species of bird-eating tarantula, in case you weren't afraid of spiders before, which can attain a leg span of 8 inches or more. Those types of tarantulas are not easy to handle and can give a nasty bite. The spiders in the film were managed and handled by entomologist Stephen R. Kutcher.
Though Jeff Daniels claimed that he was fine with small spiders, he acknowledged that anyone in his right mind would have issues with spiders as big as Big Bob, which is what they named it. However, John Goodman wasn't fazed. "I don't have any problem," he said. "We see each other eye to eye. Well, 2 eyes to their 16, but we get along well."
Swell. Not well.
Oh, sorry.
Wow. Frank Marshall meant for the film to be like Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds and added, "People like to be scared but laughing, like a roller coaster. No one wants to be terrified."
That's false. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of the fact that it's hard to find a movie that actually scares us.
And we did it recently.
Oh, I know.
And you know how awesome that was?
Yes. Like, it's been a while.
Terrify us more.
The sound of the spider being crushed by John Goodman was made by the Foley artist crushing a couple of potato chips.
When dead spiders were needed, the filmmakers used bodies of arachnids that had died of natural causes.
The live spiders were housed separately in a temperature-controlled area. Since spiders can't be trained, an entomologist devised other means to guide the spiders, such as vibrating wires, because they wouldn't cross over them, and lemon pledge furniture wax, which they refused to walk on. The spider wranglers worked with the actors on how to handle the spiders so not to mishandle or mistreat them.
The first film released under Disney's Hollywood Pictures label, which was also created so the studio could release more adult-oriented fare.
Which is funny because they had already done that with Buena Vista Pictures back in the day, but whatever. During an interview with GQ, John Goodman let slip that while filming a long shot of his character driving in the exterminator truck, producer Steven Spielberg sat in the passenger side footwell out of view of the camera and quipped to Goodman, "Only we will know that I was here." Well, since he slipped and let that out, that's no longer true.
That is funny, though. When Jeff Daniels came on board to play Dr. Ross Jennings, the film was a serious horror movie, one that Daniels told Philadelphia's Daily News was very formulaic. You could just tell that the lines were kind of written by computer. He said he and Frank Marshall were hoping for a more ironic tone, so the script went through several revisions to get the tone right. Only one key change, Daniel's character was given a fear of spiders.
Mm-hmm. Canema is the name of an avenging spirit for the Guyan Indians. It's also the name of the area in Venezuela where the beginning of the movie was filmed and home to the world's tallest waterfall, Angel Falls.
All right. One of Steven Spielberg's conditions for agreeing to executive produce the film was that the role of Delbert the Exterminator be played by John Goodman. Spielberg directed Goodman in Always from 1989, released 7 months before this movie. Frank Marshall, who directed this film, was also a producer on Always and also worked with Goodman on that film and immediately approved his casting as Delbert.
A white mouse that's supposed to be injected with spider venom and dies off camera was not actually injected. The needle was retractable. Well, that's good to know. I would assume with PETA and stuff they wouldn't allow
when the
that,
scientists collect insect specimens in giant funnels, the insects are a mixture of fake and dried insects that are already dead.
Shot in Cambria, California, all school scenes were filmed at Coast Union High School.
All right. Actors can show their feelings by way of facial expressions, but in order to show the spider's feelings on camera, they had to make use for the spider's natural movements and posture. Camera angles were also used to make the spiders appear more frightening.
In a scene where a raven flies off with a spider in his beak, a fake spider was used. When the raven falls dead from the sky, the scene was shot in cuts so that you would see what you saw falling was the fake raven. The dead raven on the ground is also fake.
Original poster art featured a spider dangling on a web string silhouetted against the moon, over the town at night, which is the one that's there. Oddly, the spider was absent for many years when the same artwork was featured on VHS and later DVD copies. Taking away a key selling point of the film, it was restored on the 2012 Blu-ray release artwork. Okay, I noticed it immediately when we got here that spider wasn't on the version that we watched.
Mm-hmm. Steven Spielberg had planned for the film to be preceded by the second Roger Rabbit animated short, Roller Coaster Rabbit. However, Michael Eisner, who ran Disney at the time, had planned for Roller Coaster Rabbit to premiere with Dick Tracy. Reportedly, Steven was not happy about this, and it was years before the third and final Roger Rabbit short would be produced.
Wow.
Yep. All right. Now, we also like to talk about the ratings on
Rotten Tomatoes.
And just to go over it quick like we do every week, because they say every episode could be someone's first episode.
Yep.
Rotten Tomatoes does not give their own rating of a movie. What they do is they take all of the ratings that are given by professional reviewers and they figure out, are they positive or negative? And if they're mostly positive, they put it in that column, negative in that column, and the number that they give you is the percentage of positive reviews.
Indeed.
They also have a section where you can vote yourself on their website, and that's the people's.
Yes.
A lot of times there's a big difference, especially when it's horror or comedy or,
Yes.
And this one's kind of both.
A little bit of both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of drama, a little bit of horror, a little bit of comedy.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Kind of slice of
opinion.
life.
But what do the professionals say about this movie?
The critics have this movie at a 93% approval rating.
Yet the people, who I usually side with because they're usually closer to reality than the reviewers, the critics, yeah. I'm going to say they got it really wrong this time with 54%. How they would have it, because that's considered rotten.
It is,
on
by
Rotten Tomatoes.
about 11
and
points.
That makes no sense to me. This seemed like the perfect kind of movie that the fans would like even better than
the critics. Oh, yeah.
And the critics did a decent job because they
93%?
gave it its props. But anywho.
Yes.
So, so it was 93, you said, and 54. That's the people are sad.
It is.
What was your least favorite? Because I know you liked this, so we'll start with least favorite.
So I'm going to say that my least favorite thing is, so when we started the movie, right, I was a proud admitter of the fact that I only had basically one fear, and that was heights. It was always heights. Mm-hmm. Heights.
True.
And by the end of this film...
He's now scared of spiders.
I think that it's fair to say...
I'm not.
Spiders are scary.
Right.
I mean, you heard the name of that? Bird-eating tarantula? You know how big a spider has to be to eat a bird?
Well, its leg span is 8 inches, so that...
Pretty freaking huge then, huh?
Uh-huh, well...
Yeah, so my least favorite part is now I'm scared of spiders.
My least favorite part is probably... the ending seemed too quick. I think, once they took care, they made it make sense because of things that I'm not going to spoil.
That's exactly how it would have gone.
But it seemed
it's a movie. It should have more of an ending.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a bigger, it needed a bigger climax. Would be, yeah, you heard me. That would be my only real thing I can say against it.
I agreed with your ending idea, but all of a sudden, no, that climax with the general.
I know, but it just didn't seem big enough to me.
I mean, spiders scream.
Listen, and he looked it up. He's like, they do.
They scream, they purr, and they hiss.
Depending on the type.
They're cats.
Anywho, what was your favorite?
I mean, oh my goodness. Okay. Wow. Probably the fact that, unlike what I expected, the doctor that he called, he was like, hey, there's spider deaths. Mm-hmm. And the guy's like, prove it, basically. He didn't show up himself. I think that it was great that he had like an underling go first to make sure it was real, because it
seemed like the way it would
seemed
actually
like
happen.
it would actually go that way and not,
because he didn't want to waste his time if it wasn't.
The movie version would have, like, I mean, I know it's a movie, but like the Hollywood version of this would be like, oh, and then he shows up immediately and it's like, oh,
it was
where's
on
the
Hollywood Films?
Well,
this is the Hollywood version of this.
No, this is the Disney version of this.
Anyway,
so I think it's great that he didn't just like immediately jump up and be like, oh, yes.
Seemed more realistic. All right. And I will say my favorite thing is the side characters. There was multiple side characters that very easily could have been just generic. There was a cop that could have easily just been, like in Jaws, oh, you can't shut this down, blah, 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 and all stern. But they made him kind of goofy, and people kept telling him to shut the hell up.
Oh, yeah.
John Goodman's character could have just been like, a guy that sprays poison to kill bugs, but they gave him.
He was John Goodman.
Yeah, like they let him John Goodman the crap out of this movie.
They did.
It worked.
And I mean, he's John Goodman, so that was a positive thing.
Correct. Yeah, don't let other people do it, but he can do it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that was my favorite thing, was the side characters that could have easily just been like
generic,
who cares?
by the numbers, everything else.
They made sure that they stuck out and like had their own place in the.
Oh yeah.
Like you're gonna remember those characters thinking of this movie.
Nick, you sold me this movie by telling me about John Goodman's character.
That's true.
And he might be technically in 20 minutes of the movie.
I mean, I think he's in 2, maybe 3 scenes. 3, counting the end.
Maybe, right.
So, yeah. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate this film?
I'm going to give it an 8. I would have given it a 9. Definitely not a 10. But if I would have given it a 9 had I not come out of it scared of spiders.
I'm going to go with an 8.5. This is just a good, solid film. It's well acted. The story makes sense. The characters are decent. It takes on some tropes that are generic, but it does them in a way that doesn't feel like you've seen it a million times, even if you have.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I could watch this again. And
they breathed new life into it, those tropes.
They breathed new life into it, and they gave me the fear of spiders.
So you said 8. I said 8.5. Highly suggest, if you haven't seen this, you go see it. Unless you have a severe fear of spiders. His mother is arachnophobic.
It'll make it worse.
She had no interest in ever watching that movie. Ever. I had it on video cassette. She wouldn't watch it back in the day when
I think from now on, Caitlin kills the spiders in the house.
Anyway. So I guess that's about it. And now it's time to go to the stuff over on the side, right?
Oh, that side.
That
not
one.
my side. Okay. So you can go to Fact TV channel 1076 Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m. to watch this show.
You can check us out on Facebook. And when I say us, I don't just mean, yes, Gory Storytime, but also Fact TV. They live stream stuff. They have a lot of different programming that people come in and do. So, check it out. You can go to fact8.com and watch a bunch of the back episodes of this, along with so many other pieces of entertainment that they have on this channel. They're just an overwhelming amount of local people doing their thing. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase. Absolutely, and I'm at Jiggly Firm Brain. I only tweet things that I find funny that he says in or out of context, usually out of context. I've even tweeted as recently as today. Let's see. And, check out, just look for Gory Storytime on YouTube. It'll bring you to not only my channel, but it'll bring you to Fact TV's channel because they also upload it. Subscribe to both, like, subscribe, hit that bell, all those things that you're supposed to do over there on YouTube. And, just check out some of this content. Yes. So, until next time, I've been your host, Jason. I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And sweet dreams.